After 37 seasons, The Simpsons is proving once again why it's still untouchable in the world of television. In a recent interview, executive producer Mike Price revealed what he believes is the show's greatest advantage: its massive roster of unforgettable supporting characters. While most sitcoms rely heavily on a small core cast, The Simpsons can dedicate full episodes to side characters like Kirk Van Houten, Mayor Quimby, or Principal Skinner, giving them surprising emotional depth. This ability to refresh old characters and explore new angles is a big reason the show continues to thrive after nearly 4 decades. Meanwhile, the historic 800th episode, Irrational Treasure, celebrated the show's legacy in a big way. Co-showrunner Matt Selman explained how the episode recreated the animation style of the very first episode, Simpsons roasting on an open fire, while embracing the show's famously flexible timeline. The milestone episode also featured major guest stars including Kevin Bacon, Quinta Brunson, and actors from HBO's The Pitt, blending nostalgia with fresh pop culture relevance. But that's not all. In gaming news, the legendary studio behind The Simpsons, Hit and Run, Radical Entertainment, has officially rebranded as New Radical Games. This has sparked massive fan speculation about potential remakes of Hit and Run and Prototype. While no remaster has been confirmed, the studio's revival has reignited hope for longtime fans. With a sequel to The Simpsons movie in development and multiple new seasons confirmed, one thing is clear: after 37 seasons, The Simpsons isn't slowing down. The question is no longer when it will end, but if it ever will. Hey, lovely viewers, welcome to our channel The Simpsons 24 Hours. After 37 seasons, The Simpsons still has one advantage no other TV show can match. Without question, The Simpsons is the most iconic animated sitcom of all time, with a run of over 35 years, drawing in different generations of audiences and constantly adapting to changing landscapes while never losing its core comedic style. Some may prefer Family Guy or Bob's Burgers, as is their right, but it cannot be ignored that these shows would not exist without The Simpsons' trailblazing success. Despite the exponential increase in animated sitcoms since The Simpsons' debut in 1989, Matt Groening's show has always felt unique, beyond the art style that is now instantly recognizable, and critics and audiences have always scratched their heads trying to pin down just what it is that The Simpsons has that other shows cannot replicate. During an interview with Collider's Tanya Hussein, Mike Price, executive producer on The Simpsons, gave his answer about what makes The Simpsons such a one-of-a-kind show, and it reflects the show's depth and versatility, arguably giving it cause to go on forever. Mike Price believes that the stacked cast of colorful characters is The Simpsons' greatest asset. During his sit-down with Collider, which covered a myriad of topics, Price was asked, "Is there one honest thing you think that the show does that no other show has been able to do?" And while he went into detail, his essential answer was that, "We've been on for long enough, and have so many great characters, which allows The Simpsons to take entire episodes to focus on characters who, on any other show, would be the 14th character on the cast list." Price used Kirk Van Houten, Hank Azaria, and Mayor Quimby, Dan Castellaneta, and even Principal Skinner, Harry Shearer, as key examples of when an episode has focused on the backstories of characters who have mostly played a supporting, comedic role in the past, exploring things from Kirk's bipolar disorder to Quimby's ancestry. Price's answer is incredibly illuminating because of how it exemplifies the depth of characters that The Simpsons can develop compared to other shows. While most sitcoms will have a core cast of characters and rarely venture out of them when creating intricate motivations and backstories, The Simpsons can do so naturally, as audiences are already familiar with the characters enough, making a deeper look at them feel earned after so many seasons. In doing so, The Simpsons adds a new layer to these characters that recontextualizes them for the audience, making something that is old feel new again. In the case of Kirk, for example, the most recent season finale, Homer, a cracker bro? The Simpsons took a character often seen as a soft-spoken butt of a joke, and made him incredibly sympathetic and complex, showing both his manic side when his crumbless cracker business takes off, and his depressed side once his mania subsides. Mike Price's answer explains The Simpsons' unparalleled longevity. When it comes to deciding how long a show can run, the general measure is how much story it has to tell. If it is a focused, narrative-based drama, then once the plot is finished, so is the show, with Chernobyl, Game of Thrones, and Breaking Bad being examples of stories that, even when stretched out over several seasons, have a specific end goal in mind. For sitcoms, the plug is often pulled when no more comedy can be squeezed from the cast of characters the show originally set up, leading to more seasons, but also a risk of the show plodding on longer than it should. In The Simpsons case, the sitcom has been a masterpiece at adapting to find different angles to explore, and Price's answer reflects this longevity. If the show was still focusing solely on Homer, Dan Castellaneta, and his family, there is only a finite amount of story and development that can be squeezed from them. But by allowing Homer to be an audience surrogate for a side character's story, like he is for Kirk's bipolar disorder, it gives him something new to do, and opens the audience up to learning more about the side characters. Mike Price's interview with Collider revealed many things about the behind-the-scenes of the legendary sitcom, but, for fans, perhaps the best takeaway is the fact that there seems to be no end in sight for the creatives behind The Simpsons. The storytelling is still finding exciting ways to tackle characters and breathe new life into the show. With a sequel to The Simpsons movie in the works and 3 more seasons to come, the question of when The Simpsons will end feels increasingly like if rather than when. Simpsons hit and run and prototype studio Radical Entertainment is back as New Radical Games. The studio has a new website and appears to be looking for work. Radical Entertainment was founded in 1991 in Vancouver and was acquired by Vivendi in 2005, then by Activision in 2008. By the end of 2013, the studio had essentially closed in all but name, with the Canadian government dissolving its incorporated status and the few remaining staff assisting on other Activision projects. Hothead Games was a Vancouver-based studio which developed such titles as Penny Arcade Adventures and Deathspank, before moving on to mobile games. It went bankrupt in late 2024. Now, however, both studios appear to have been resurrected as New Radical Games, with Ian Wilkinson as CEO and president, and Tim Benison as COO. Wilkinson was one of Radical Entertainment's co-founders. After the company was sold to Vivendi, he left Radical in 2008 and moved to Hothead, where he served as the studio's president for the next 16 years. Benison was previously a COO and studio director at Capcom Vancouver, then joined Hothead in 2020 to serve as its COO. Although Wilkinson's LinkedIn page states that he started as CEO and president of New Radical Games in December 2024, around the same time as Hothead Games went bankrupt, the studio's website appears to have only recently gone live. The site says the studio is open for work for hire full game development, on mobile or console games. It also says it's willing to co-develop with another studio, or to handle porting or remastering of an existing title. As well as The Simpsons, Hit and Run and Prototype, Radical Entertainment's other previous titles included The Incredible Hulk, Ultimate Destruction, Scarface, The World Is Yours, Crash Tag Team Racing and the NES version of Wayne's World. As soon as the studio's website was spotted online, fans of The Simpsons, Hit and Run and Prototype started taking to social media saying they hoped this was going to result in remakes or remasters of either game. As of now, there is no suggestion that either is in the works. In 2023, The Simpsons, Hit and Run producer John Melchior claimed publisher Vivendi was given the option to make 5 more Simpsons games and turned it down, meaning it lost the Simpsons license even though work had already started on a sequel to Hit and Run. Simpsons Hit and Run 2 would have been done by Radical, and there was a medieval Simpsons game that Matt Groening pitched, which was being done at Stormfront after Lord of the Rings, Melchior said at the time. The biggest crime was that Vivendi did not obtain the Simpsons license, though they had an offer in. The Simpsons came back with an offer, 5 games for X amount of dollars. It was a really good deal, and Vivendi said no. After the success of Hit and Run, The Simpsons, Hit and Run studio gets rebranded to New Radical Games, sparking hopes of a remake again. The Simpsons, Hit and Run sits high among the list of games fans want a remake of. While some have been begging for it for over a decade, others have created their own versions, but kept it to themselves for fear of legal issues. While the anticipation of a remake has simmered down a bit, the studio's recent rebranding has kicked it back up a notch. Radical Entertainment, the developer behind the child-friendly GTA, recently rebranded itself to New Radical Games. The website shows off all the projects it has worked on, including The Simpsons, Hit and Run, Prototype, Scarface, The World Is Yours, and The Incredible Hulk, Ultimate Destruction. Hit and Remake. The rebranding comes as a result of a merger between Radical Entertainment and Hothead Games, which has worked on several mobile titles, including a Civilization VI port. Understandable, fans of Hit and Run and Prototype have perked up their ears, discussing what this could mean for possible remakes of the games. Over on Reddit, one fan commented, "Prototype getting remastered before Infamous is not what I would have expected. That possibility seems more likely now, with the closure of Bluepoint Games and the rebranding of New Radical Games." Others had a funnier take, saying, "Hit and Run 2 before GTA 6. Comments on Reset Era followed the same tone, with some saying, "I'm here for the Hit and Run and Scarface remakes." Simpsons characters feature pretty prominently on the website, so it's not something that the studio is shying away from either. The Simpsons showrunner breaks down the pit and stars, Kevin Bacon, and other cameos in historic 800th episode. The Simpsons showrunner Matt Selman tells Entertainment Weekly about the guest stars in the show's 800th episode, Irrational Treasure. The showrunner explains how Kevin Bacon, Quinta Brunson, and the pit stars got involved in the episode. Selman also shares how the episode pays tribute to the show's legacy and breaks down the Easter eggs throughout the EP. The Simpsons is celebrating 800 episodes on Fox with a crew of very special guest stars. In the show's milestone episode, Irrational Treasure, Marge takes the family dog, Santa's Little Helper, to a national dog competition in Philadelphia as Homer reluctantly embarks on a National Treasure-esque treasure hunt with a group of eccentric historians. Entertainment Weekly spoke with Simpsons co-showrunner Matt Selman to discuss the guest stars, Easter eggs, and key moments in the historic 800th episode. The episode starts with a flashback to the first-ever episode of the animated sitcom, Simpsons roasting on an open fire, which saw the family welcome Santa's Little Helper into their home. To capture the look and feel of the first season of the show, Selman says that the animators adjusted the visual style for the opening sequence. It starts out as the actual Christmas scene where they get the dog from the first episode, and then we kind of take the scene further, he explains. "We matched the animation style. I love the old animation style. I wish we could do them all like that." Immediately, the timeline begins to diverge from your memories of the family's trusty canine companion, as we see Homer, Lisa, and Bart feeding Santa's Little Helper excessive amounts of food, prompting the dog to gain significant weight. In the opening moments, we see the ever-expanding Santa's Little Helper in other memorable moments throughout the Simpsons canon. "It's embracing the history of the show," Selman says. "We have those flashes of Homer as a stonecutter and then the Pie Man, and then he's in different outfits from famous Homer episodes as we do crazy time jumps over both the 1 year and 40 years that the show has existed at the same time. Like, the characters are always the same age yet they've had almost 40 years of adventures. So did it all happen in one crazy year? Did it happen in 40 years? Neither? Both?" Selman reiterates his position that The Simpsons shouldn't be beholden to one singular timeline with strict canonical boundaries. The real paradox of this is that the dog becomes fat, and yet, in none of those subsequent episodes is the dog fat, Selman reflects. So if you love strict adherence to the rules of consistency in canon, it might be inflammatory to you. And I'm sort of on the record as being a little bit cavalier with that stuff. So obviously the dog has not been a fat dog the whole time they've had the dog, but we wanted to do a fat dog story and a story about how Marge is the only one who is the tough parent with the dog. She forms a deeper connection to the dog in trying to keep it healthy. Santa's Little Helper reaches a breaking point after eating several grapes out of Marge's ambrosia salad, prompting an intense visit to the veterinary hospital, where Noah Weil, Catherine LaNasa, and Taylor Dearden portray animated versions of their characters from HBO Max's The Pit. Mike Price, the co-producer of this episode, is a huge The Pit fan, and we thought it'd be a fun way to spice up the veterinary scene by giving it the intensity and melodrama of this terrific show, Selman says. And then we convinced Noah and some of the other actors to play intense vet cartoon versions of themselves. But I think it came from Mike, because I know he was just the hugest fan of that show from the get-go and how crazy and intense it was. Selman notes that The Simpsons was quicker to jump on the Pit train than it has been to incorporate other pop cultural phenomena. Usually we're like 5 years late or 13 years too late to something, but we're actually not super late to The Pit, since Season 2 is just coming out right now, he says. Though I always think it's funny when people ding the show for being late to make fun of something, because at the very best, it was only on time once. And then every time after that, it was late. The showrunner says that Price was instrumental in putting putting the guest cast at ease when it came time to record their cameos. They were all pretty much on board because it's like a love letter to the show, and it was pretty easy, Selman says. But even when it's someone huge like Noah Weil, when they get here, it's kind of a big deal. They're like, oh my god, this is The Simpsons. This is a huge part of culture. This has been on for my whole life. It can be a lot for them to take in once they're actually here. And Mike is so good at directing them and keeping them chill. Once Santa's little helper is safe and sound, Marge is approached by a dog trainer named Adrian, who is voiced by Quinta Brunson. Adrian urges Marge to whip the pooch into shape. He'll need to lose a lot of weight. He's what we in the canine wellness field call, damn that dog.